Hey guys, so I just have a lot of anger about politics and everything that has happened within the last week because I think it's all bullshit. Because we've let so much of this happen, and not necessarily we, but as a collective we, I mean everyone that's white, and that would include myself. And although so many of us did not want this to happen, we still continue to not want any of this to happen. The fact of the matter is that this is where we are, and there's so many troubling and disturbing things that are happening with this presidency. And of course, I'm somebody that doesn't believe that Trump is a president in the first place. I actually think that he's fairly dumb and he's super gullible. If you haven't followed the Resist White House staff Twitter, you should, because it's very, very eye-opening about what happens behind the scenes. And there's so many people in our government that didn't want anything that has happened in the last week to happen, that people are starting to stand up, and we have our own weird little post-apocalyptic world happening right now. And it's strange to think that we have looked at movies like Star Wars and The Hunger Games, and we're living it right now. The fact that we're living it, but the fact that enough of us are starting to stand up and say that we have had enough and that we are no longer okay with what is happening. We should never have been okay and complacent with anything that was happening in our country. That's the point of us living in a democracy, and particularly in the United States, where we have so many freedoms. And granted, there are so many other countries that have the equal amounts of freedoms as we do, if not more, because, well, at this point in time, they don't live in a progressively fascist state. Now, granted, for whatever reason, fascism has decided to rear its ugly head, and the same goes for white supremacy and all of these things that people thought, went away at the end of World War II. No, they never went away. They merely hid for a while. It's like a weird Avengers film where Hydra is rearing its ugly head, and the fact that that's what we've seen for the last 10 years as media to us, the audience, and politically it should scare a lot more people. Regardless, I think it's important that we all start to ally ourselves to other causes, to those who are Muslim, to the Black Lives Matter movement, to, my own cause of both being a woman but also being in the LGBTQ community. As marginalized groups, we all should be allying with each other and supporting each other and turning out for each other's marches, for each other's protests, for each other's causes, because we are our own allies, and there are more of us than there are in the government. And I have this very strong belief that Donald Trump should never have a quiet weekend. He should never get that opportunity to have a vacation, to have a quiet weekend. We should be active and always protesting whatever we need to and make him afraid, because there are way more of us than there are of him, and he should be afraid of the population. There's plenty of people on Twitter that have basically had their healthcare ripped out from under them, and they didn't anticipate that, and they didn't think that would happen. And unfortunately, the Republicans don't have anything to replace it with. But regardless, it's frustrating that some of the reason that people wanted Obama out and didn't want Hillary are both asinine and petty, because he was black and he supported a woman, and both of them being minorities in this country, which is a whole separate story, is something that I think is super problematic with the United States and should probably be addressed at some point. But this is running long, and I need to go catch somebody at the airport. And by catch, I mean they're not being, well, regardless. Anyway, stay excellent. Don't forget to be awesome. Bye. Also, let me know in the comments below your thoughts about everything that's going on and how you think, as marginalized communities, we should be allying with each other. Let me know in the comments below. Bye.